Hi people, welcome to Bouquet Jazz Dance. I'm in my Blue Lab at the moment, and what I'm doing, want to share information with people about Bouquet Jazz community dance education. I grew up in a family of dancers, like many dancers. My dad from Jamaica, mum from Grenada. They very much instilled me to use dance, hone dance, and develop it to improve my social skills, people, physical, intellectual, but basically social skills and everything that goes with it. Because I was a very shy child, and I was a very, very clumsy child. Also, I was very passive. I had dyslexia, typical low self-esteem problems and issues, and not knowing why I couldn't learn like my brother and sister. But what I had was a self-determination to learn. So from very early on, I had a lot of problems in learning, retrieving words, etc. in 0 to 6 years, and I used to spend a lot of time with myself playing, which normal kids do, and I created a positive outlet for myself, which was pretending to be a jazz dance entertainer. That was one of the things I wanted to be, as well as a barrister. And I had an aspiration to go to university from the beginning. It was not something that my parents instilled. I heard them talk about a barrister called Sir Constantine Leary, who was a cricketer, athlete, and whatever. I decided from just hearing them and my parents being politicised, I'm going to become a barrister to able to support my people. And that's, I had that in my mind as a long time as an individual. Dancing in my community was huge, and I had some landmark events in my life. In my mum's womb was a landmark event, hearing music and dance, seeing her holding me, her singing to me and dancing, seeing my parents. But I saw my parents get married, and that was a landmark event, because the first time, my dad's Jamaican, one's Grenadian, the first time I seen Jamaican and Grenadians dance, and they dance differently, and they dance similar, because there's music that they have. Jamaican music is very popular, popular dances, which Grenadians don't know. They get to know them, but my Jamaican community, my family definitely could do the Jamaican dances, and my dad did, and he bought the connoisseur music. My dad, underground person, had been in America before he came to Britain from 1955 to 61. He worked in the South. He told me a lot about the racism there. He was there during the civil rights movement, etc., etc. Saw a lot of key things. Talked about traveling state to state, where black people, there's no blacks at all. But Jamaicans changed America because they were not indigenous to the place, and they made certain demands that indigenous people wouldn't do, because obviously the history that they had. But they changed it. They just came with a different persona, and they could do because they're from outside, and generally that's what happens. Now, I'm talking about my community dancing, giving you insight to my dad, should give insight to my mum. My dad was born in 1935. He had dyslexia unknown to himself, so he had the same things I had. He grew up shy as well, due to challenges he had. My mum had special education needs. She would go up shy as well, because that's what, when you can't control your educational development, you get insecurities, and both of my parents had them insecurities, but they had a aspiration to be educated. That's one of the things when they came to Britain, both of them, to look after the families, improve their families. Their families were struggling. Both came from impoverished background, from rural areas. Rural communities were dissed by people from the towns. That's one of the things that my parents could connect with. My dad was from rural Jamaica. Mum was from rural Grenada, and people in the town thought they were better than them. So they had this snobbery thing. And then when they came to Britain, they settled in places that were similar to where they lived. So Manchester was that place. And again, my relatives lived in London. And what happened, we faced sort of discriminations like, parochial and all that type of thing as an individual. But as an individual, I had a lot of self-pride. My dad told me about where he came from, and I had a lot of self-pride. I was very down to earth. I wasn't worried about where I lived, where I lived, or where my parents came from. I knew my parents were progressive, and that's all that mattered. And it was important that I knew that. As an individual, I'm just sharing some pictures with you. As an individual, that was a picture of me doing a photographic shoot. And I had a saying, and I need to say it today. Our history is not history till we celebrate it in true context to its period change to significance. This is me. This is a great picture, but I had a bad experience working with this photographer and the organisation that did it. Okay? They're my clothes. I styled it. I had a bad experience. I got ripped off from a 4-hour photographic shoot. I was set up to do this, supposedly working with an organisation. I initiated photographs to be done for me to show people my rehabilitation. I had blood poisoning, and I was using dancing in clubs, etc., etc. And I was saying to people, what's happening right now? People like to see people from the clubs on the advertisement, you telling the stories of people in the club. I said, use me, because that will happen in London. And what happened? People loved it. I latched onto it. I said, you can't sell the photographs because I want to do an exhibition. I'll do it with you. Negotiate it with them. Look, I don't want to take nothing off you. I'm big already in the art game anyway. You're big. Let's work together. And they agreed it. And then when they saw the photographs, they decided that what they want to do is use the photographs for themselves and videos and not give me an opportunity to use it. Okay. So this is a negative photo. It's a positive photograph of me, but a negative experience. Okay. These are a number of photographs of me. Again, this is my, and that's all. This is all part of my community dancing, people. Because that's what I do. I initiate activities in clubs, discos, and I've had positive experience working with promoters. I used to work in a club called Bolton, and not only me, a group of us did. We went down and we told the owner we needed a place to rehearse on a Thursday, actually. And what happened, he used to dance there. He said, well, you know what, I'll come early on a Thursday to open up for you guys, yeah, and you can stay in the club free. You dance in the club as part of, encouraging people to dance. Get sociable in dance. And we did that, and that's what we used to do every Thursday. So we had a rehearsal place, a place called Atmospheres in Bolton, and I used to go there twice a week. I used to go there on a Thursday and on a Sunday. We used to dance there. So I've had positive experience, and it's important to say. Now, one of the key things, as I said, my community dancing is involved in so many different things. Underground, I love it because what happens is my experience as a dancer is wider than those in the commercial area, because commercial areas basically are bastardizing culture. People don't think about health. So one of the key things, dance and health movement days, Blue K Jazz Dance, in the community from the beginning, my work in my community was about health, maintaining people's health, their well-being, their mental being, their emotional well-being. I never knew at the time, because you don't latch onto that. People ask you to come to workshops, but you don't know you're bringing happiness into workshop. You're providing some form of creative stimulus in the community, which is not there as an individual. And what happens, you have to understand, I taught myself to be a teacher, coach, whatever. I taught myself to be a model, and it takes work to be a model. This is me as an individual. I was the one that instigated how this should be done eventually. The photographer didn't do right by me because he supposed to have created ideas in the way to work with me, and I thought he had that done. When I got there, I found that he was inexperienced in doing that, and he could cause me injury. If I didn't know what I was doing, I would cause myself injury that day. Do you understand? And if he worked with me as a professional, which he didn't, I thought he was a professional, because some professionals have ideas. When you go there, they have things set up, they know what they wanted. I thought he had that, but he wasn't. They were trying to con me out of my image photographs. So what happens as an individual working in the community, I working with a DJ called Earth and Rain. I've been working with him for 10 years in the community, and my work in that club, his club, is to encourage dancing, because what happened, I come back to Manchester, less people in the clubs in Manchester are actually dancers. A lot of people drink, some people take drugs. And what happened, I've been trying to encourage dancing without drugs and without drink, because high rate of anxiety attacks have gone bigger because people are drinking more and taking drugs. Okay, so I came back with that for 10 years. And I've had positive experience in working in community, and I had negative experiences working in community. I've been disappointed. I tried to identify to the owner, Earth and Rainy, you need to take videos of all these activities. Over 10 years, we've got hardly any videos. Bringing landmark DJs, working people came from Europe, top dancers. We never had video footage of it. No photographs. We've got some photographs, but great opportunity has been missed as an individual. He says he's into dance, but what I'm saying as an individual, I'm being practical now, because I talk straight, because my work is about community dance. This is what I'm talking about in my lab, straight up. There's some people say they're into community dance. They've got no dancers there. You know why? Because they don't cater for dancers, and you cater for people who just want to dance it out. They're people who take drugs, take drink, or just people who just want to come and dance it out. Don't push the boundaries of the dancing. I'm into getting people to push the boundaries of the dancing. You know why? Because when you push the boundaries of the dancing, you improve your health more. That's what people don't know. Creativity enhances your health and maintains your health more than you just dancing it out only. Do you understand? It adds to it. That's the nature of our culture. Is recognized historically. Conga square, hip-hop dance, house dance. How has it evolved? Because people come with a high level of creativity. And when you bring the high level of creativity, it pushes the boundaries. People push the boundaries of the learning, thinking physically, mentally, and socially than anything before. Do you understand? And that's what I was trying to introduce to Earth and Rainey's events. It's been some great events and whatever. We have dance, but it's not a dancers club. Do you understand? I've never danced at my highest level there yet. I go there just to keep fit and condition myself, actually, for my UK Jazz Dance events. people dancing 9 hours strong, 6 hours strong. Do you know what I'm saying? At the highest level of fitness, you're required to do that, and you have to do a lot of practice behind. But I love Blue K Jazz Dance. Blue K Jazz Dance as vehicle. I created it to preserve my community development in dance. Is one of the key things that I've done for the next generation. Because what happened, social justice has been taking place. 99.9% of all the community dancing, the club dancing, festival dancing, it's been withheld away from the dancers themselves by the DJs, by the promoters, and that was done deliberately. Because what happened was this art form came through soul, disco, and funk club scene, and it led to jazz funk. People hated the dance, right? Because they hated the dancers, and it's important that I say this. Black people, African Caribbean were hated, West Indians were hated on an unprecedented scale, particularly Jamaicans, and I'm a half Jamaican. Jamaican culture is hated. And so what happened when anything that the West Indians brought here was debased, and this new jazz dance form came out, the soul disco club, and it brought a lot of competition, brought a lot of entertainment, and wider cultures couldn't do it, so they hated it. You have to understand what happened. They felt intimidated because they couldn't dance. This is where everything has been off keel. The key writers on UK jazz dance have been Western writers who don't dance. And they try to bring the perspective of the onlooker. The onlooker is a person that can't dance. If you look in the country today, 50% of people identified that they're shy. 90% of people cannot socially dance on the spot. That's a sad thing. You need to understand. My culture, most people can dance. You need to understand the significance of it. And people make jokes about it. Remember, black people love to dance and sing because it's part of social development. Do you understand? Right, okay. So you understand 58% of social development is actually, or even 75% of social development is body language, interpersonal skills. That's how where you see most African diaspora people, they're strong interpersonal skills. They spend a lot of time dancing, socializing, etc. And you see them on the street, you see that they're very sociable. You see that they're not impeded. If they're going anywhere in the world, for example, anywhere I go in the world, I can dance on the spot. Prime example, in Italy, 1996, I've gone there. Only black person on this arts course, short study visit to look at regeneration and art. And I've gone there, and people are older than me. So I'm going off my head. I'm there for 10 days. 5th day, I say to the interpreter, look, tell me where a club is. I need to go to a club and dance. I can't just be doing what you guys are doing, just going to, go to the places and observe what we're doing, come home, go restaurant. That is, no. I need to, celebrate and intermingle with people socially through dance. So she told me about a club, but they came with me. And, it was a bit of impeding because I couldn't be free as I wanted to, but then eventually became free. Because what happened was I had to accommodate them and that, we're still sociable. I've got to be amicable with the people. But what happened, I went to the club, nobody was on the dance floor, and they were playing hip-hop. Now, I didn't know anything about this club. She brought me there, and I didn't know how much hip-hop they're going to play. I thought they might go in to play some Italian music that I can't dance to. So I sat down, everybody's ordering pizza. At first I ordered my pizza, and then I said, you know what? Tell the guy when he comes by pizza, put it in a box. I'm going to dance. People said, why are you going to dance? No one's dancing on the dance floor. And so what? So I just really picked up my own essence of my culture, and I went to the middle of the dance floor, and I just danced, and I danced all night, and it was beautiful. Because dancers who wanted to get on the floor, but they want to be the first on the floor, all came and started to dance with me. It was beautiful. And I had a really, really brilliant experience, and I needed it. I realized the importance that I needed dance. My lifestyle, my social, healthy lifestyle, dance is included in it in a huge way. And there's certain things I do around the dancing. I go to theatre, I go to see dances, I observe dance on the television, particularly on YouTube now as an individual, always doing that. And that's part of my community dancing. And my dance includes competitions, my dance includes collaborations, my dance includes me finding people on Instagram who I can work with. There's some dancers right now thinking, wow, you can really dance, man. And they're inspirational, influential. And, that's how my dance evolves in my community. And people hated that and tried to slate it. And one of the things that was talked about was the circle was intimidating to wider cultures. It wasn't intimidating. The circle's been around for thousands of years, people. It was here when Lindy Hop was here when Northern Soul was here when rock and roll was here. Not a complaint. Do you understand? So when we came with our dance, the key thing they talk about is that they made a circle and to stop impede it. It was not we impeded, it's just that people were not at the level of our dancing that they could go into the circle, and they felt intimidated, so they wanted to get rid of it in the club. You have to understand the significance of what I'm talking about. And what happened is they did it successfully. Eventually in Manchester, we had no club for jazz dance no more. You have to understand what happened. And immediately, African dance for people's health went down overnight. You see mental health challenges taking place, because before that people had a place that they could bond with each other and bond with other communities in the town centre. What happened, there was always black door policy, but black door policy increased on an unprecedented scale. Do you understand? So when I talk about community dancing for me has been incredible, particularly recently in the sense of 05 to 09, gone to Oxford Brookes University. People, you won't believe what happened to me in Oxford. Black door policy. I had problems getting into clubs that were for students. You don't understand the challenges that Oxford students have. So I ended up going to London. But that happened to me before. When I was in the South, twice I've studied in the South. One in Bedford, I had black door policy in the city of Bedford. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna avoid this. I'll just go to London because I knew I could get the vibe. And I went to London and get an overnight train. For the same money you play in the pub, you just pay money in the train, and I had an overnight ticket, and I come back. Overnight, I could get an overnight train from London back to Bedford, and that was a beautiful thing because students were there. So I used to spend a lot of time in London dancing, and that kept my health and well-being. That's how much you have to understand the significance of what dance can do. Dance improves your mental state, your emotional state, physical state. Dance can make you endure marginalisation, endure exclusion, and that's what happened to me in Bedford and Oxford, because people tried to demean the fact I love dancing. It's very, very silly. Individuals, it's just that people come from a different culture, but that culture's horrible. When you demean people, you know, you do what you're doing, I do what I'm doing. But what's happened, a beautiful thing that's happening in community dance now, is dance is at the heart of cultural life in the UK and in Europe. Why? Because reports have shown you what I've been telling you about the benefits. It's known to keep people away from crime. It's known to prevent dementia of old people. It's known to improve people's cognition. It's known to help people who've been through very bad experiences of trauma. They found freestyle dancing, and I found that freestyle dancing gave them a place, made them feel good about who they were, had a collective of people who understood, their teachers, they could divert their emotions, their energy into dance. I know of that because I've been dancing since baby, and a few people have spoken to me recently. They're in their 30s. I was born in 64. It's now 2020. I'm still dancing bigger and bolder and better because I'm an all-stars dancer. Every new dance that came about, I actually did that dance. And I embraced the culture of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I got injured, I did things like this. When I got injured, I did things like modelling. When I got injured, I did things like choreography. When I got injured, I did things like directing. When I got injured, I did things like creating my own one-man play where I didn't have to do much dancing in it. When I got injured, I got other people to actually do the play that I wanted as an individual. When I got injured, I turned to health, dance and health and movement well-being. And what happened, one of the things I promote is this, is that people who dance often are likely to have higher self-esteem and more positive outlook on life. And that's been shown to be the case right now. In universities, I told you I was university 05 to 09, more suicide rates taking place. You know why? Because more people are drinking to deal with their stress. I dance to deal with my stress. And when I was at Oxford Brookes University, it was a shame. As an individual, I was trying to introduce dance. I did introduce dance to many. I tried to introduce it into Oxford in the best way I could. But what happened was, when you got black door policy, that's very hard to do. So I ended up doing it in London already. But the dance is big there. But remember, Oxford is the second biggest population of students. One of them anyway, biggest population of students in the whole of the UK. 1 in 5 is a student. I did include it in student. I created student empowerment for students. Introduced dance to them, told them about but I mean, as a community dancer, I did it, not just as anything. I introduced to them dance and health movement with knowledge to back up what I was talking about, etc. Because Oxford's huge for sports science, yeah? It's huge for dance, but there's a lot of snobbery involved. There's a lot of elitism. So when I went to Oxford, I had my portfolio. I was actually snubbed by art students who I wanted to work with, because I wanted to do art in residence to them. I was a snubbed by architecture student, I should say some, but it was enough for me to just get on what I did, to get on what I wanted to do, just flying solo. The reason I did that was because I went there and found out I was dyslexic. Immediately, it was like I needed like 3 years or 4 or 5 years to go to university as an individual with dyslexia, because I had to change my practice overnight, and it was hard. So I just focused on being a dyslexic leading student as an individual, and then I worked on getting the best leadership job